the gentle lapping of waves against a distant shore, a soft rhythmic hush that usually lulls you into a state of tranquility. But tonight that sound takes on a different, more primal cadence. Imagine yourself adrift in a vast sapphire ocean, the sun a warm caress on your skin, the water a cool embrace beneath you. A perfect serene escape. Then a shiver, not from the chill of the water, but from an instinctual dread that whispers through your very bones. Beneath you, the ocean depths stretch into an inky abyss, holding secrets older than humanity itself. And in that unimaginable darkness, a shadow stirs. A shadow so immense, so utterly ancient, it redefines the very concept of a predator. Tonight, we plunge into a terrifying thought experiment. Why you would never want to swim with a megalodon. We'll journey back to an era when this titan ruled the seas, exploring its astonishing size, its bone-crushing bite, and its insatiable hunger. We'll delve into the science behind its dominance, the environments it thrived in, and the chilling implications of encountering such a creature. Are you certain that the seemingly empty ocean around you isn't concealing an echo of this prehistoric leviathan, a phantom predator that could have appeared from the depths in an instant, leaving no trace? Before we dive deeper into the chilling reality of what it would be like to encounter this colossal creature, take a moment to settle in. Let the gentle sounds of the ocean cradle you, even as your mind begins to grapple with the immense power of the Megalodon. And as you drift, tell us in the comments below, where are you tuning in from, and what time is it there right now? It's always incredible to see how far these whispers of the ancient world travel across the globe. Let's set the scene. Picture the Miocene and Pliocene epochs, roughly 23 to 3.6 million years ago. This wasn't the ocean we know today. It was a warmer, richer world, teeming with life and death. In this vibrant, yet brutal, marine ecosystem, one creature reigned supreme, Otodus megalodon, more commonly known as the Megalodon. The name itself, derived from Greek, means giant tooth, a fitting moniker for an animal defined by its most formidable weapon. To truly appreciate the sheer terror of this creature, we must first grapple with its size. Forget the great white shark you see in documentaries, that's a mere minnow compared to the Megalodon. While the largest recorded great white might reach lengths of around 20 feet, 6 meters, and weigh up to 2.5 tons, the Megalodon was in a league entirely its own. Estimates for its size vary, primarily because we only have fossilized teeth and vertebrae to work with. Unlike bony fish, sharks have cartilaginous skeletons that rarely fossilize completely. However, paleontologists and marine biologists have used sophisticated methods, often by comparing the size of megalodon teeth and vertebral centra, the main body of the vertebrae, to those of modern great white sharks, which are believed to be its closest living relatives, to extrapolate its likely dimensions. Conservative figures suggest an average length of around 50 to 60 feet, 15 to 18 meters. To put this into perspective, think of a standard school bus, which is about 45 feet long. A megalodon, at the lower end of estimates, would still be longer than a school bus. At the upper end, nearing 60 feet, it would be the length of 2 city buses, bumper to bumper, or roughly the length of a bowling alley. Some researchers even propose lengths exceeding 65 feet, 20 meters, making it comparable to a modern-day sperm whale or a large humpback. The sheer mass of this animal would have been staggering. If a great white shark can weigh 2.5 tons, a megalodon, with its exponentially larger volume, likely weighed in excess of 50 to 100 tons. Imagine a floating island of muscle, cartilage and bone propelling itself through the water with effortless power. This isn't just a big fish, it's an ecological force of nature, a living, breathing leviathan. Consider this, a human swimmer, even a tall one, averages around 6 feet. If you were floating in the ocean, a megalodon, at the conservative end of its size range, would be 10 times your length. From its perspective, you would be an insignificant speck, perhaps not even worth the energy to investigate. Or, and this is the chilling part, perhaps just a curious bite-sized morsel, an unexpected snack. Its sheer size means it wouldn't even have to consciously target you. Your presence could simply be an inconvenient obstacle in its path, to be dealt with summarily. The implications of this scale are profound. A great white shark often needs to breach the surface to attack large prey, using its momentum to propel itself upwards. For a megalodon, such acrobatics might have been unnecessary. Its sheer size and power would have allowed it to simply engulf or crush its targets underwater, with minimal fanfare. This makes the thought of its presence even more terrifying, an almost imperceptible, yet overwhelming force moving silently beneath you. But the size is just the beginning of our nightmare scenario. The true terror of the megalodon lies in its jaws. If you've ever held a great white shark tooth, you know they're impressive. Serrated, sharp, designed for slicing. Now, imagine a tooth 7 inches long, 18 centimeters, or even larger, dwarfing your hand. Megalodon teeth are some of the most sought-after fossils on the planet, and for good reason. Each one is a testament to an unimaginable predatory power. These teeth, often found on ancient sea floors and now unearthed in various coastal regions, are jet black or shades of brown, polished by millennia of geological processes, silent witnesses to a reign of terror. The megalodon's mouth was a gaping maw of death, a true wonder of natural engineering. It was lined with 276 teeth arranged in 5 rows. Unlike many predators whose teeth are replaced slowly, the megalodon, like modern sharks, likely shed and replaced its teeth throughout its life, potentially going through thousands of teeth over its lifespan. This constant regeneration ensured a perpetually sharp and devastating arsenal. Each lost tooth was quickly replaced by a new one, moving forward from the rows behind, a conveyor belt of destruction. This adaptation allowed the megalodon to maintain peak predatory efficiency even after delivering bone-shattering blows that might damage its dental weaponry. But it wasn't just the size and number of teeth that made the megalodon's bite so fearsome, it was the biting force. Scientists have used various methods, including biomechanical modelling based on the jaw mechanics of modern sharks, to estimate the bite force of a megalodon. These models take into account the size and shape of the jaw muscles, the leverage provided by the jaw structure, and the known bite forces of extant species scaled up. The numbers derived from these studies are truly staggering. While a large great white shark can exert a bite force of around 4,000 pounds per square inch, CSI, estimates for the megalodon range from 24,000 to 40,000 psi. Some of the most robust recent studies even push these figures higher, into the range of 60,000 psi for the largest individuals. To put that into perspective, the strongest bite force recorded for any living animal belongs to the saltwater crocodile at about 3,700 psi. A Tyrannosaurus rex, that iconic land predator, had an estimated bite force of around 12,000 psi. The megalodon's bite was 2 to 3 times more powerful than a T-Rex, and 6 to 10 times more powerful than a great white shark. It was, by all accounts, the most powerful bite force of any animal to have ever lived on Earth. What could such a bite do? It wouldn't just tear flesh, it would shatter bone with contemptuous ease. Imagine a creature that could crush the skull of a large whale, snap the spine of a giant sea turtle as if it were a twig, or tear through the reinforced hull of a small submarine with terrifying ease. Its teeth, designed for maximum penetration and cutting, combined with this immense force, could shear through cartilage, muscle, and bone in a single devastating chomp. If you were in the water, even a glancing bite, a mere experimental nip, would be catastrophic. Your bones, your very skeleton, would offer no resistance whatsoever. You would simply be obliterated. Consider the energy transfer in such an event. The kinetic energy unleashed by that bite would be enough to pulverize. There would be no escape, no fighting back, no chance for survival, just the immediate, complete annihilation of your form. Imagine the sound, the sickening crunch of bone and cartilage, muffled by the water as the Megalodon's jaws clamp down. It's a sound you'd pray to never hear, a sound that, once heard, would signify the absolute finality of your existence. Are you still picturing that serene swim in the ocean? Or is the image of those colossal bone-crushing jaws a perfect killing machine forged by millions of years of evolution, beginning to redefine your idea of a peaceful dip? The thought alone is enough to send a shiver down your spine, isn't it? The ocean, once inviting, now holds the phantom echo of an insurmountable power. When we think of giant predators, we often imagine them as lumbering, slow-moving behemoths, easy to spot, perhaps even somewhat clumsy. But the Megalodon was a shark, and sharks are highly evolved, efficient hunters, masters of their environment. While its immense size might suggest a slower overall cruising pace than smaller sharks, its powerful caudal fin, tail, and streamlined fusiform body would have allowed for surprisingly swift bursts of speed, particularly during an attack. Paleontological reconstructions suggest a body plan that, while robust, was built for powerful acceleration and maneuverability. Megalodons were likely ambush predators, much like modern great whites. They wouldn't engage in long, drawn-out chases across the open ocean, which would be energetically costly for such a large animal. Instead, they would use the vastness of the ocean, the murky depths, and the element of surprise to their advantage. Imagine silently cruising far below the surface, its massive dark form blending seamlessly with the ocean floor or the deep shadows, waiting for the perfect moment. Their primary prey consisted of large marine mammals, early baleen whales, like ancestral rorquals, sperm whales, seals, sea cows, sirenians, and even other large sharks and sea turtles. The fossil record strongly supports this, with numerous whale bones found bearing distinct Megalodon tooth marks, often showing signs of powerful, crushing bites on the rib cages, flippers, and vertebral columns. These marks are not mere scratches. They are deep gouges, sometimes even complete punctures, testament to the immense force applied. Scientists have studied these bite marks extensively. Some evidence suggests that Megalodon attacks often targeted the bony, less fleshy parts of its prey, such as the rib cage or tail flukes, indicating a strategy aimed at immobilizing or fatally wounding the internal organs, rather than just taking a large bite of flesh. One hypothesized hunting strategy involved targeting the flukes, tails of whales, effectively crippling their ability to swim and escape, and then circling back for the kill. Another theory suggests attacks from below, delivering a massive, incapacitating bite to the softer underbelly of its prey, or a massive ramming impact to stun before biting. The massive size of the Megalodon means it could have exerted crushing force from any angle. Beyond sight, sharks possess an array of sophisticated senses that make them formidable hunters. While the exact capabilities of Megalodon senses are speculative, we can infer much from modern sharks. They would have possessed an incredible sense of smell, capable of detecting minute traces of blood or distress signals from miles away. Their lateral line system, a row of sensory organs running along their body, would have allowed them to detect subtle vibrations and changes in water pressure, alerting them to the movements of potential prey from a considerable distance, even in total darkness. Perhaps most chillingly, like all sharks, Megalodon would have possessed the ampullae of Lorenzini. These specialized electroreceptors, located in pores around the shark's snout, allow them to detect the faint electrical fields generated by the muscle contractions of living creatures. This means even a perfectly still, perfectly quiet prey animal would be detectable to a Megalodon. especially in close proximity. The true terror of a megalodon attack is precisely because it would be so sudden, so overwhelming, and so utterly silent that you would have virtually no time to react. One moment, you're enjoying the vast, empty expanse of the ocean. The next, an unimaginable force has erupted from the depths, and your world is gone. There would be no dramatic chase, no warning splash, just an instant of blinding, crushing force. This isn't a Hollywood monster that roars or gives chase. This is an ancient, silent assassin, a master of its domain, equipped with a suite of senses that would render any human attempts at evasion utterly futile. The true horror isn't just its size or its bite, it's the chilling realization that you would never even see it coming. Or if you did, it would be far too late. Are you starting to feel that prickle of unease, that primal fear of the unseen, unfathomable depths? What other horrors might lurk beneath the surface, even in our modern oceans, that we can't possibly comprehend, simply because our senses are so limited compared to the creatures that truly belong there? It's a reminder of how vulnerable we are outside our element, especially when faced with a truly ancient, perfected predator. To truly understand why swimming with a megalodon would be a death wish, we need to understand where it lived and the environments it favoured. Unlike some specialised marine predators with limited ranges, the megalodon was a cosmopolitan species, meaning its fossils have been found in warm, temperate and subtropical waters all over the world, from the coasts of North and South America to Europe, Africa, Australia, and even parts of Asia. This global distribution is evidenced by the discovery of its distinctive teeth across continents and ocean basins, suggesting a widespread and dominant presence. This wide distribution suggests that the megalodon was a highly adaptable predator, capable of thriving in diverse marine environments as long as conditions were suitable. It likely preferred coastal waters, particularly those with broad continental shelves, large bays, and productive estuaries, where its massive prey, large marine mammals, were abundant. These areas were the nurseries and feeding grounds for whales, seals, sea cows, and other large creatures, making them prime hunting territories for the megalodon. Fossil evidence often points to megalodon teeth being found in marine sediments that were once shallow, near-shore environments. So if you were to somehow be transported back in time and decide to take a dip in the ocean during the Miocene or Pliocene, you wouldn't be safe just by avoiding the open sea. In fact, some of the most dangerous places would be precisely where humans tend to swim today, near coastlines, in relatively shallow, productive waters, and around estuarine systems where rivers meet the sea. These were the hunting grounds of the megalodon, places where it would routinely encounter and prey upon creatures far larger and more powerful than any human. Imagine swimming just off a vibrant, prehistoric coastline, perhaps enjoying a tropical reef teeming with colourful fish. The water is warm, crystal clear, inviting. You might be oblivious to the deeper channels, the submerged canyons, or the outer edge of the continental shelf, just beyond your comfortable swimming area. But hidden beneath the surface, lurking in the shadows of an ancient kelp forest, or waiting patiently at the edge of a deep drop-off, could be the ultimate predator. The very thought of it makes the most inviting waters feel menacing. Furthermore, Megalodon likely had specific nursery areas, much like modern sharks. These would have been shallower, protected waters, often bays or lagoons, where juvenile megalodons could feed on smaller prey and grow without being subjected to the full predatory pressures of the open ocean. While the adults were the true leviathans, even juvenile megalodons would have been formidable predators, easily capable of taking down any human. A juvenile megalodon, perhaps only 20 or 30 feet long, would still be a horrifying sight, a streamlined, toothy torpedo of pure aggression. It's a chilling thought. The very places we seek solace and recreation in the ocean today, the warm, inviting waters off our beaches, the vibrant reefs teeming with life, were once the hunting grounds of a creature that viewed even the largest whales as potential meals. The sense of peace and security we feel in these waters is a direct consequence of the Megalodon's absence. Are you still craving that refreshing swim, or has the thought of sharing the water with a truly enormous apex predator, capable of appearing from virtually anywhere in the shallow, inviting waters, changed your mind about dipping your toes into the prehistoric ocean? The beauty of the ocean suddenly takes on a far more dangerous, primal edge, doesn't it? The Megalodon wasn't just a large predator. It was an apex predator, in the truest sense of the word, occupying the very top trophic level of its marine ecosystem. Its presence shaped the entire marine food web of its time. When a creature sits at the top of the food chain, its influence ripples down through every level of life below it, affecting population dynamics, species distribution, and even evolutionary trajectories. Its insatiable appetite for large marine mammals would have put immense predatory pressure on whale populations. This pressure, in turn, could have influenced the evolution of whales, driving them to develop better evasion strategies, greater speeds, larger body sizes, or even to seek refuge in colder, less productive waters where the Megalodon might have been less prevalent. Some scientists hypothesized that the migration patterns of ancient whales were directly influenced by the need to avoid Megalodon predation. Imagine entire species of whales evolving to be faster, more agile, or to dive deeper simply to escape the jaws of this single predator. The sheer volume of food required to sustain a creature of the Megalodon's size is almost unimaginable. A creature weighing dozens of tons would need to consume hundreds, if not thousands, of pounds of meat every single day to fuel its massive metabolism. This constant need for sustenance would have made it an active, relentless hunter, always on the prowl. This massive energy requirement meant that its hunting activities were not occasional occurrences, but a constant, pervasive force within its environment. It was likely a cruising predator, constantly moving and searching, rather than lying in wait for extended periods. Think of the ripple effect. A healthy Megalodon population meant a thriving ecosystem beneath it, as its predation would keep other populations in check. It would weed out the sick, the old, and the weak among whale populations, leading to stronger, healthier prey species overall. But it also meant constant danger for anything that shared its waters. Every creature, from the smallest fish that might accidentally get swept into its massive maw during a feeding frenzy, to the largest whale, would have been acutely aware of its presence, or at least the pervasive existential threat it represented. For a human, this means you wouldn't just be facing a single hungry animal. You'd be entering an environment where everything was living under the shadow of this dominant predator. The very behavior of other marine life, their swift movements, their heightened senses of awareness, their instinctual flight responses, might serve as a chilling, unheeded warning of a lurking danger. Fish schools might suddenly part, whales might abruptly change course. All signs of a supreme predator's approach that we, as humans, would be ill-equipped to interpret until it was far too late. Megalodon was, in essence, an ecosystem engineer. Through its predatory role, its actions directly influenced the populations and behaviors of other large marine animals, the patterns of their migrations, the locations of their breeding grounds, and even their physical adaptations may have been a direct response to the omnipresent threat of Megalodon. Its dominance was so absolute that it likely suppressed the rise of other large predatory sharks or marine reptiles, maintaining its unchallenged position at the very peak of the food chain for millions of years. Could you ever truly relax in an ocean where such a being existed, where the slightest disturbance in the water, the briefest shadow beneath the waves, or the sudden panic of a nearby school of fish could be the precursor to an unimaginable end? Your every sense would be on high alert, and even then, your primitive human senses would be no match for a creature perfectly adapted to its deep water domain. Given the Megalodon's terrifying efficiency as a predator, its incredible size, and its long reign, you might wonder why it's not still swimming in our oceans today. Its extinction, roughly 3.6 million years ago, at the end of the Pliocene epoch, is a topic of ongoing scientific debate. But several compelling theories, often working in conjunction, point to significant global environmental shifts. The story of its demise is as fascinating as its life, offering crucial lessons about Earth's dynamic climate and the interconnectedness of all life. One of the leading hypotheses involves climate change and cooling ocean temperatures. As the Earth entered a period of significant global cooling during the late Miocene and Pliocene, leading to the formation of polar ice caps and a general drop in global sea levels, many of the warm, shallow coastal waters that were prime Megalodon hunting grounds began to cool or even dry up. This reduction in preferred warm water habitats would have directly impacted its preferred prey. Many large whales and other marine mammals either migrated to colder, more polar waters or went extinct themselves as their food sources dwindled. Megalodon, being a warm water adapted species, might have found it difficult to adapt to these colder conditions. Its massive body size, while advantageous for predation and potentially for thermal inertia, maintaining body heat, might have made it less efficient at regulating its body temperature in truly cold waters, or it might have simply struggled to find sufficient prey in the changing environment. Sharks are ectothermic, meaning their body temperature is largely regulated by their environment. While some modern sharks, like the great white, exhibit regional endothermy, warming certain parts of their body, it's unknown if Megalodon had this capability, and even if it did, a dramatic, sustained global cooling trend would have presented significant challenges. Another significant factor could have been competition from other emerging predators, particularly early-toothed whales, like the ancestors of modern orcas, Orcinus orca. While individual orcas are much smaller than Megalodon, they are highly intelligent, highly social pack hunters, capable of coordinating complex attacks on large prey, including large whales. As whale populations shifted to colder waters, orcas, being warm-blooded mammals, could more easily follow them. This meant that the Megalodon, which relied on warm, productive waters, might have found its prey migrating away from its preferred hunting grounds and into areas dominated by a new, highly effective, and very different type of predator. The fossil record supports this idea. The rise of diverse toothed whale species coincides roughly with the decline of the Megalodon. These agile, intelligent, and cooperative hunters could have outcompeted the solitary Megalodon for food resources, especially in areas where they could employ cooperative hunting strategies that the Megalodon, as a likely solitary hunter, could not. It's not necessarily that orcas killed Megalodons, but rather that they filled a similar ecological niche in newly accessible cold water regions, becoming formidable competitors for food resources that were already becoming scarcer. Furthermore, the decline in prey diversity and abundance itself played a crucial role. As climate changed, many of the specific whale species that Megalodon specialized in hunting either went extinct or significantly reduced their populations. Without a stable and abundant food supply of the appropriate size, even the most powerful predator cannot survive. The Megalodon was a specialist, adapted to hunt very large marine mammals. When those large marine mammals became less common or moved to different habitats, the Megalodon would have suffered disproportionately. So while the image of a Megalodon still strikes fear into our hearts, its disappearance from the world's oceans was a natural, albeit complex, process. Its extinction is, in a very real sense, why we can enjoy swimming in the oceans today, without the constant lurking dread of being hunted by a 60-foot bone-crushing super predator. It's a testament to the immense power of geological and climatic forces, forces that shape not only the fate of a single species, but the entire course of life on Earth. It's a sobering thought, isn't it? That the very conditions that allow us to exist and thrive on this planet, a specific range of ocean temperatures, specific prey populations, are the same conditions that spelled the end for one of the most magnificent and terrifying creatures to ever swim the seas. Our world is shaped by these grand, slow-moving environmental narratives, and the Megalodon is a poignant chapter in that story. Let's bring it back to that swimming scenario, but now with an even deeper understanding of the Megalodon's capabilities. Forget a casual dip. Imagine you're a diver, meticulously suspended in the vast blue, admiring a vibrant coral reef, perhaps exploring a sunken wreck. The visibility is good, the water is calm, inviting. You feel utterly alone, utterly safe, wrapped in the comforting embrace of the ocean. Then, a flicker at the extreme edge of your peripheral vision. A barely perceptible disturbance in the distant deep blue. A massive, dark shape moving with an impossible grace. It's not a whale, not a submarine. It's something organic, something alive, and impossibly large. You try to rationalize it, a trick of the light, a distant cloud, anything but what your primal brain is screaming it might be. As it draws closer, the sheer scale overwhelms your senses. Its body, massive and powerful, seems to warp the water around it, creating subtle currents you can feel. Its eye, the size of a dinner plate, a dark, fathomless orb, locks onto you, devoid of emotion, just the cold, calculating gaze of an ancient predator, assessing, measuring. There's no curiosity, no malice, just the detached focus of an animal about to feed. The water around you begins to shimmer, disturbed by the immense displacement of water as it turns towards you. The pressure changes, a subtle shift that precedes something monumental, like the approach of an underwater freight train. Your brain, in a desperate attempt to process the impossible, screams for you to flee, but your body is frozen, paralyzed by the sheer enormity of the sight. There's no time to scream, no time to react. The immense mouth opens, slowly at first, then with accelerating, chilling speed, revealing a cavern of serrated white teeth, large enough to swallow a small car whole, or indeed several humans simultaneously. The impact wouldn't be a bite in the conventional sense. It would be a collision of unimaginable force. The sheer momentum of tens of tons of muscle hitting your body at speed would be like being struck by a freight train or crushed between two tectonic plates. There would be no struggle, no fight, just instant crushing oblivion. Your body would simply cease to exist as a recognizable form. The water would instantly be stained red, then quickly dissipate, leaving no trace but perhaps a faint lingering taste of iron. This is why swimming with a megalodon isn't just dangerous, it's fundamentally incompatible with human survival. We are not built to withstand such forces, such an encounter. Our bodies are fragile, our bones brittle, our defenses non-existent against a creature so perfectly evolved for total domination of its marine environment. No amount of training, no specialized equipment could possibly save you. Even if you were in a boat, a small fishing vessel, a yacht, even a reinforced scientific submersible, a megalodon could easily capsize it with a powerful ramming attack. Or worse, splinter its hull with its powerful jaws. A quick decisive strike could turn your vessel into kindling, tossing you into the very waters you were trying to escape, directly into the path of the waiting Leviathan. Its bite force alone could compromise the integrity of many modern submersibles. The very idea of a megalodon in our modern oceans is a popular theme in fiction, a testament to the enduring terror and fascination this creature inspires. But the reality is far more chilling than any movie monster could portray. Movies often show protracted chases, desperate struggles. But with a megalodon, there would be none of that. Just a sudden, terrifying end. Can you truly imagine anything more terrifying than being utterly helpless, insignificant, and completely outmatched in the face of such raw, untamed power? The ocean, in that moment, would cease to be a place of beauty and wonder, transforming instead into the most terrifying final arena imaginable. Even though the megalodon has been extinct for millions of years, its legacy continues to fascinate and even subtly influence our understanding of the ocean and the history of life on Earth. Its existence highlights the incredible evolutionary journey of life on Earth and the dynamic, ever-changing nature of ecosystems. The fossil record of the megalodon, primarily its iconic teeth, provides invaluable insights into prehistoric marine environments, helping scientists reconstruct ancient food webs, understand oceanic currents and temperatures millions of years ago, and even infer the migratory patterns of its prey. Every discovery of a new megalodon tooth or bite mark on a fossilized whalebone adds another crucial piece to the complex puzzle of this incredible creature's life and times. These fossils are not just relics, they are scientific data points that unlock the secrets of a bygone era. Furthermore, the megalodon serves as a powerful reminder of the delicate balance of nature. Its reign as the ultimate predator, lasting for tens of millions of years, eventually came to an end due to environmental shifts, specifically climate change and the changing availability of its massive prey. This is a stark illustration that even the most dominant, perfectly evolved species are beholden to the broader forces of climate and ecological change. It reminds us that no species, not even the most powerful, is immune to significant environmental alterations. Its extinction offers a sobering lesson in the fragility of even seemingly indestructible life forms in the face of planetary shifts. The allure of the megalodon also speaks to our primal fear of the unknown, of the deep, and of creatures far larger and more powerful than ourselves. It taps into a deep-seated human curiosity about the ancient past and the wonders and horrors that once roamed our planet. The concept of an ultimate, unstoppable predator lurking in the depths is a powerful narrative, one that resonates deeply with our instinctive fears. It fuels our imaginations, inspiring countless books, movies, and documentaries, allowing us to confront our fears from a safe distance. In a strange way, the Megalodon story also highlights the uniqueness of our current era. The vast, empty ocean that we perceive today, while still holding its mysteries and its dangers, is fundamentally different from the ocean of the Miocene. Our ability to explore, to swim, to appreciate marine life without the constant, pervasive threat of a 60-foot super predator is a privilege, a direct consequence of a prehistoric extinction event. The absence of the megalodon has fundamentally altered the top-down pressures on marine ecosystems, allowing for the diversification of other large predators and the flourishing of various marine mammals in ways that might not have been possible had the megalodon continued its reign. So, as you drift off, let the thought of this magnificent, terrifying creature slowly recede. Take comfort in the profound knowledge that the oceans we swim in today, while still holding their mysteries and their wonders, are free from the shadow of the true king of the sharks. The rhythmic sounds of the waves are no longer a prelude to an unimaginable terror, but a soothing lullaby of a safer, albeit still wild, world. But perhaps, just perhaps, as you listen to the gentle, rhythmic sounds of the ocean, a tiny part of you will still feel that ancient whisper, that lingering chill, reminding you of a time when the ocean held a secret too immense, too powerful to ever be shared. A secret that, if it still existed, would redefine your every thought about venturing into the deep blue. That was quite the journey into the terrifying reign of the megalodon, wasn't it? As the last echoes of that ancient shark fade from your mind, Perhaps a sense of relief washes over you. The oceans of today, thankfully, are free from such a colossal, toothy leviathan. But what if I told you that even before the Megalodon rose to power, the seas were dominated by a predator even more alien, more monstrous than anything we've discussed? A creature so perfectly adapted to its role as an apex hunter that it effectively became the ocean's ultimate weapon. A reptilian nightmare that puts even the most fearsome dinosaurs to shame. Tonight, we plunge into the heart of the late Cretaceous period, a time when dinosaurs ruled the land, and an entirely different kind of terror stalked the seas. Imagine waters teeming with life, but also with an unseen threat, a colossal shadow moving through the depths with serpentine grace, its eyes fixed on its next victim. We're talking about the mosasaur, the sea's deadliest reptile, a creature that redefined what it meant to be an apex marine predator. From its monstrous size and unique double-hinged jaw to its unparalleled speed and insatiable hunger, we'll uncover why swimming with a mosasaur would have been an even more immediate and terrifying end than a megalodon. Are you certain that the tranquil surface of the water isn't concealing an ancient scaly nightmare waiting to burst forth? Let's cast our minds back, far beyond the age of the megalodon, to the late Cretaceous period, roughly 100 to 66 million years ago. This was the age of the dinosaurs, but while giants like Tyrannosaurus rex and Triceratops roamed the continents, a different kind of king ruled the waves. The Earth's geography was vastly different then. Warm, shallow epicontinental seas covered much of what is now North America, Europe, and Africa. These were vibrant, productive waters, teeming with an incredible diversity of marine life, from fish and sharks to plesiosaurs, ichthyosaurs, and gigantic sea turtles. And at the very pinnacle of this complex food web was the mosasaur. The term mosasaur actually refers to a family of marine reptiles, Mosasauridae, not just one single species. This diverse group evolved from semi-aquatic lizards, gradually adapting to a fully marine existence, much like modern whales evolved from land mammals. The most iconic and largest of these, however, was Mosasaurus hoffmanii, which could reach truly colossal sizes. While we often think of dinosaurs as the dominant reptiles, the mosasaurs were the undisputed reptilian lords of the sea. Their appearance was a terrifying fusion, a powerful, elongated body like a gigantic Komodo dragon, a massive crocodile-like head, and powerful, paddle-like limbs for propulsion and steering. Unlike the vertical tail of a shark, mosasaurs possessed a powerful, vertically flattened tail fluke, similar to that of an ichthyosaur or modern cetacean, capable of generating immense thrust. Estimates for the largest mosasaurs suggest they could reach lengths of up to 17 meters, 56 feet. While slightly shorter than the largest megalodon estimates, their body plan, with a more serpentine, robust build, implies an equally formidable mass. Imagine a creature the length of a semi-trailer, with the agility of a colossal snake and the jaws of a monstrous crocodile, moving with chilling purpose through the water. Its sheer scale would fill you with terror. To put this into human perspective, if you, a 6-foot swimmer, were in the water, a large mosasaur would be nearly 10 times your length. Its presence would block out the sun, casting a colossal shadow over you, instantly transforming a sunlit ocean into a dark, suffocating trap. The water itself would feel heavy, charged with the immense pressure exerted by such a colossal beast. But mosasaurs weren't just large. They were uniquely adapted killing machines, refined by millions of years of evolution in a fiercely competitive environment. Their reign was absolute, signaling the demise of other large marine predators like the pliosaurs and ichthyosaurs. Their sheer biological supremacy speaks volumes about their effectiveness. And what was the secret to their terrifying success? It lies not just in their size, but in their truly unique and utterly brutal feeding apparatus. When you think of a shark's jaws, you imagine crushing force and serrated edges. But the mosasaur took predatory efficiency to a whole new reptilian level. Its most distinctive and terrifying feature was its double-hinged jaw. Unlike most animals, the mosasaur's lower jaw wasn't just hinged at the back of the skull, it also possessed an additional hinge in the middle of the lower jaw, allowing each side to move independently and greatly expand the gape of its mouth. This, combined with a highly flexible skull, similar to snakes, meant that the mosasaur could dislocate its jaws and effectively walk its entire mouth over its prey, allowing it to swallow enormous victims whole. Imagine watching this unfold. A mosasaur clamps down on its prey, not necessarily tearing it to pieces, but instead beginning to manipulate it, slowly, deliberately, forcing the entire struggling body down its throat. The sight of such a maneuver would be unspeakably horrific, a slow, agonizing engulfment. The mosasaur's teeth were also uniquely adapted for this method of consumption. Unlike the Megalodon's shark-like razor-sharp serrations designed for slicing, mosasaur teeth were conical, recurved, curved backward, and often had two sharp cut-in edges, but usually lacked the extreme serrations of sharks. These teeth were designed for gripping and holding onto slippery prey, preventing escape, and then facilitating the ratcheting action of its double-hinged jaw. Some species, particularly those that specialized in crushing shelled prey, had more blunt, robust teeth. But for the large apex predators, the curved, sharp teeth were perfect for securing a large, struggling victim before swallowing. Their diet was incredibly varied, reflecting their dominance. Fossil evidence and gut contents reveal that mosasaurs preyed on almost everything in their ecosystem: ammonites, extinct shelled cephalopods, fish, sharks, including early shark species, some of which were quite large, large sea turtles, plesiosaurs, long-necked marine reptiles, ichthyosaurs, dolphin-like marine reptiles, and chillingly, even other mosasaurs. This cannibalistic tendency highlights their ferocious nature and the intense competition within their family. If a mosasaur would eat another mosasaur, what chance would a lone human have? A bite from a mosasaur would be a combination of crushing power and inescapable grip. While bite force estimates vary due to the unique jaw structure, it was undoubtedly immense, easily capable of cracking the shells of giant turtles or the bones of large marine reptiles. But the true horror isn't just the initial bite, it's the realization that once grasped, there is no escape. You would be relentlessly pulled into that massive expanding maw, swallowed alive, experiencing the unimaginable terror of being consumed whole. The very thought of being slowly, inexorably, swallowed by a creature of such monstrous proportions is a nightmare beyond compare. Your mind recoils from the image, but the chilling reality of a double-hinged jaw working its terrifying magic makes it unavoidable. Are you still picturing the serene blue, or has the image of a massive maw, capable of unhinging itself to engulf an entire being, transformed your idea of ocean safety into a chilling scenario of ultimate entrapment? Despite their immense size and serpentine bodies, mosasaurs were anything but slow or clumsy. While often depicted as giant, lumbering lizards in older illustrations, modern scientific understanding portrays them as highly efficient and powerful swimmers. Paleontological studies, particularly of their vertebral columns and powerful tails, suggest a creature capable of impressive bursts of speed and agility, especially for its size. Estimates for their top speed vary, but many paleontologists believe they could reach speeds of up to 30 kilometers per hour, 18 to 20 miles per hour, or even higher in short bursts. To put that into perspective, the fastest human swimmer's clock, in at around 5 to 6 km, a mosasaur could easily outpace even the fastest Olympic swimmer, closing distances with alarming rapidity. This speed, combined with their powerful, vertically flattened tail fluke, made them formidable pursuers once their prey was in sight. Like the Megalodon, mosasaurs were likely ambush predators in the open water. The vastness of the Cretaceous seas provided ample cover for a creature of its size. Imagine the deep shadowy zones where light barely penetrates, or the edges of massive undersea canyons. A mosasaur could patiently lie in wait, its dark camouflage body blending seamlessly with the ocean depths. Its long, powerful body would allow for incredible acceleration from a standstill, bursting forth from the gloom with shocking suddenness. Their large, keen eyes, positioned for binocular vision, suggest they were highly visual hunters, but like sharks, they likely possessed other sensory adaptations. While not possessing the ampullae of Lorenzini, their sensitivity to vibrations in the water would have been acute, allowing them to detect the movements of prey from a distance. The slightest ripple, the distant thrashing of a struggling creature, would draw their attention. An attack from a mosasaur would be brutal and decisive. Unlike sharks that might circle and test, a mosasaur would likely launch a full-on assault. The initial impact would be devastating. A massive, torpedo-like body ramming into its victim, stunning it, before the terrifying jaws clamped down. Once its double-hinged jaw took hold, escape would be impossible. The struggle would be brief, violent, and ultimately futile. For a human, this means you wouldn't just be facing a large reptile. You'd be dealing with a creature capable of closing a significant distance in mere seconds, erupting from the depths with overwhelming force. There would be no time to register the threat, let alone react. The sudden shadow, the violent surge of water, and then the crushing grip, that would be the sequence of your final moments. The sheer predatory efficiency of the mosasaur is demonstrated by its dominance over other marine reptiles of the era. The ichthyosaurs, once dominant, began to decline around the time mosasaurs were rising. Plesiosaurs, while still present, largely retreated to deeper, perhaps less competitive waters. The mosasaur took the crown, largely because its speed, jaw mechanics, and overall predatory prowess allowed it to outcompete anything else in its watery domain. Are you still feeling the gentle caress of the water, or has the image of a serpentine titan, capable of bursting from the abyss at terrifying speeds, intent on a full-body engulfment, started to make the concept of open water feel less like an escape and more like a vast, watery hunting ground? The scientific understanding of mosasaurs has advanced dramatically thanks to a rich and widespread fossil record. Unlike the Megalodon, whose cartilaginous skeleton limits our knowledge to teeth and vertebrae, mosasaur skeletons, being bony, preserve much more completely. This allows paleontologists to reconstruct their bodies with greater accuracy, infer their musculature, and even analyze their digestive contents. Some of the most significant fossil finds come from the Niobrara Formation in Kansas, USA. This region was once part of the Western Interior Seaway, a vast shallow sea that bisected North America during the late Cretaceous. The anoxic, oxygen-poor conditions on the sea floor of this ancient seaway led to exceptional preservation of marine life, including numerous, nearly complete mosasaur skeletons. These fossils, often found alongside the remains of their prey, including fish, ammonites, and even smaller mosasaurs, provide direct evidence of their diet and predatory tactics. The Kansas specimens, in particular, revealed the sheer diversity and immense sizes these creatures attained. Further significant discoveries have been made in Morocco, especially in the phosphate mines, which have yielded a treasure trove of marine reptile fossils from the late Cretaceous and Paleogene periods. These Moroccan finds include numerous mosasaur remains, sometimes in massive bone beds, showcasing the global distribution and abundance of these creatures. The sheer number of teeth and bone fragments indicates that mosasaurs were a dominant feature of the marine ecosystems across multiple continents. The global distribution of mosasaur fossils found across North and South America, Europe, Africa, Asia, and even Antarctica confirms their cosmopolitan nature. This wide geographical spread suggests that mosasaurs were highly adaptable and successful predators that colonized various marine environments, from shallow coastal areas to deeper offshore waters. They were truly global rulers of the seas. These fossil discoveries allow paleontologists to engage in detailed reconstructions of mosasaur anatomy and biomechanics. By studying the attachment points of muscles on their bones, scientists can estimate their strength and range of motion. The structure of their flippers indicates efficient propulsion and steering, while the robust nature of their skulls speaks to their powerful bite. Even coprolites, fossilized feces attributed to mosasaurs, have provided direct evidence of their diet, including undigested fish scales and bone fragments. The geological context of these finds also tells a story. The presence of mosasaur fossils in what were once shallow seaways suggests that, like Megalodon, they were not confined to the deep ocean, but actively hunted in productive coastal areas. This brings the threat even closer to home, placing them in waters where humans might hypothetically swim. So when we talk about a mosasaur, we're not speculating about a mythical beast. We're talking about a creature whose existence is well documented through a compelling and abundant fossil record, a testament to its real-world dominance for millions of years. Each fossilized bone, each gleaming tooth, whispers a chilling tale of reptilian supremacy. Does the weight of such undeniable geological evidence, pointing to a real and utterly terrifying predator, make your mental image of the prehistoric ocean feel a little too vivid, a little too close for comfort? The late Cretaceous period was a time of dynamic change in marine ecosystems. While early sharks were certainly present, including ancestors of modern lamniform sharks, they were largely outcompeted by the mosasaurs for the top predatory niche in many environments. This isn't to say sharks disappeared entirely, but their role as apex predators was significantly diminished during the mosasaur's reign. Why did a marine lizard, evolved from a terrestrial ancestor, manage to dominate the seas over more ancient and seemingly well-established shark lineages? Several factors contribute to this understanding. Firstly, speed and agility. While sharks are fast, mosasaurs, with their powerful, vertically flattened tails and streamlined bodies, were likely capable of greater sustained speed and acceleration in bursts. Their serpentine bodies, while different from a shark's fusiform shape, allowed for incredible burst power generation. This would have given them an edge in pursuing fast-moving prey or in ambushing. Secondly, the double-hinged jaw and swallowing hole. This unique adaptation allowed mosasaurs to consume larger prey items relative to their head size than many sharks. Sharks typically take bites out of larger prey, leaving the rest for later, or relying on blood loss to incapacitate. A mosasaur, by swallowing prey whole, could eliminate the struggle faster and consume a greater biomass in one sitting, making it incredibly efficient. This would have been a massive advantage in competition for food resources. It's a one-and-done approach to hunting for many prey items. Thirdly, bone-crushing capability. While many sharks can bite through bone, the sheer crushing power and grip of a mosasaur's jaws, especially in species adapted for hard-shelled prey like sea turtles or ammonites, gave them access to a wider range of food sources that might have been less accessible or desirable for early sharks. Their robust teeth, designed for piercing and holding, meant very few prey items were truly out of their reach. Fourthly, adaptability and evolutionary innovation. The mosasaur family diversified rapidly, evolving into a wide array of forms with different feeding strategies and body sizes. This rapid evolutionary success allowed them to exploit various niches across the global oceans, from coastal shallows to deeper waters, reducing direct competition with each other and allowing them to expand their domain. Some specialized in fish, others in ammonites, and the largest became generalist apex predators. The ecological dominance of mosasaurs meant that for millions of years they were the undisputed kings. They were the ultimate hunters, the ones that dictated the terms of survival for other large marine animals. The absence of Megalodon during this period meant there was no other single predator of comparable size and power to challenge their reign. They filled the apex predator niche with terrifying efficiency, acting as the ultimate top-down control on their ecosystems. This dynamic competition highlights a crucial aspect of prehistoric life. Ecosystems are constantly in flux, with different groups rising and falling in dominance. For the late Cretaceous, it was the marine reptiles, particularly the mosasaurs, who held the crown. They weren't just big, they were biomechanically superior in their environment, outperforming even the most ancient and successful predatory lineages. Can you feel the weight of this ancient history, where the very top of the food chain was occupied by something so utterly different from what we know today? It's a reminder that the ocean's past is far stranger and more terrifying than we often imagine. When considering what an actual encounter with a mosasaur would be like, paleontologists don't just rely on skeletal remains. They use a combination of biomechanical analysis, comparisons with living marine predators, and trace fossil evidence to reconstruct potential attack scenarios. These reconstructions paint a truly chilling picture. So when we talk about a mosasaur, we're not speculating about a mythical beast. We're talking about a creature whose existence is well documented through a compelling and abundant fossil record, a testament to its real-world dominance for millions of years. Each fossilized bone, each gleaming tooth, whispers a chilling tale of reptilian supremacy. Does the weight of such undeniable geological evidence, pointing to a real and utterly terrifying predator, make your mental image of the prehistoric ocean feel a little too vivid, a little too close for comfort? The late Cretaceous period was a time of dynamic change in marine ecosystems. While early sharks were certainly present, including ancestors of modern lamniform sharks, they were largely outcompeted by the mosasaurs for the top predatory niche in many environments. This isn't to say sharks disappeared entirely, but their role as apex predators was significantly diminished during the mosasaur's reign. Why did a marine lizard, evolved from a terrestrial ancestor, manage to dominate the seas over more ancient and seemingly well-established shark lineages? Several factors contribute to this understanding. Firstly, speed and agility. While sharks are fast, mosasaurs, with their powerful, vertically flattened tails and streamlined bodies, were likely capable of greater sustained speed and acceleration in bursts. Their serpentine bodies, while different from a shark's fusiform shape, allowed for incredible burst power generation. This would have given them an edge in pursuing fast-moving prey or in ambushing. Secondly, the double-hinged jaw and swallowing hole. This unique adaptation allowed mosasaurs to consume larger prey items relative to their head size than many sharks. Sharks typically take bites out of larger prey, leaving the rest for later, or relying on blood loss to incapacitate. A mosasaur, by swallowing prey whole, could eliminate the struggle faster and consume a greater biomass in one sitting, making it incredibly efficient. This would have been a massive advantage in competition for food resources. It's a one-and-done approach to hunting for many prey items. Thirdly, bone-crushing capability. While many sharks can bite through bone, the sheer crushing power and grip of a mosasaur's jaws, especially in species adapted for hard-shelled prey like sea turtles or ammonites, gave them access to a wider range of food sources that might have been less accessible or desirable for early sharks. Their robust teeth, designed for piercing and holding, meant very few prey items were truly out of their reach. Fourthly, adaptability and evolutionary innovation. The mosasaur family diversified rapidly, evolving into a wide array of forms with different feeding strategies and body sizes. This rapid evolutionary success allowed them to exploit various niches across the global oceans, from coastal shallows to deeper waters, reducing direct competition with each other and allowing them to expand their domain. Some specialized in fish, others in ammonites, and the largest became generalist apex predators. The ecological dominance of mosasaurs meant that for millions of years they were the undisputed kings. They were the ultimate hunters, the ones that dictated the terms of survival for other large marine animals. The absence of Megalodon during this period meant there was no other single predator of comparable size and power to challenge their reign. They filled the apex predator niche with terrifying efficiency, acting as the ultimate top-down control on their ecosystems. This dynamic competition highlights a crucial aspect of prehistoric life. Ecosystems are constantly in flux, with different groups rising and falling in dominance. For the late Cretaceous, it was the marine reptiles, particularly the mosasaurs, who held the crown. They weren't just big, they were biomechanically superior in their environment, outperforming even the most ancient and successful predatory lineages. Can you feel the weight of this ancient history, where the very top of the food chain was occupied by something so utterly different from what we know today? It's a reminder that the ocean's past is far stranger and more terrifying than we often imagine. When considering what an actual encounter with a mosasaur would be like, paleontologists don't just rely on skeletal remains. They use a combination of biomechanical analysis, comparisons with living marine predators, and trace fossil evidence to reconstruct potential attack scenarios. These reconstructions paint a truly chilling picture. So when we talk about a mosasaur, we're not speculating about a mythical beast. We're talking about a creature whose existence is well documented through a compelling and abundant fossil record, a testament to its real-world dominance for millions of years. Each fossilized bone, each gleaming tooth, whispers a chilling tale of reptilian supremacy. Does the weight of such undeniable geological evidence, pointing to a real and utterly terrifying predator, make your mental image of the prehistoric ocean feel a little too vivid, a little too close for comfort? The late Cretaceous period was a time of dynamic change in marine ecosystems. While early sharks were certainly present, including ancestors of modern lamniform sharks, they were largely outcompeted by the mosasaurs for the top predatory niche in many environments. This isn't to say sharks disappeared entirely, but their role as apex predators was significantly diminished during the mosasaur's reign. Why did a marine lizard, evolved from a terrestrial ancestor, manage to dominate the seas over more ancient and seemingly well-established shark lineages? Several factors contribute to this understanding. Firstly, speed and agility. While sharks are fast, mosasaurs, with their powerful, vertically flattened tails and streamlined bodies, were likely capable of greater sustained speed and acceleration in bursts. Their serpentine bodies, while different from a shark's fusiform shape, allowed for incredible burst power generation. This would have given them an edge in pursuing fast-moving prey or in ambushing. Secondly, the double-hinged jaw and swallowing hole. This unique adaptation allowed mosasaurs to consume larger prey items relative to their head size than many sharks. Sharks typically take bites out of larger prey, leaving the rest for later, or relying on blood loss to incapacitate. A mosasaur, by swallowing prey whole, could eliminate the struggle faster and consume a greater biomass in one sitting, making it incredibly efficient. This would have been a massive advantage in competition for food resources. It's a one-and-done approach to hunting for many prey items. Thirdly, bone-crushing capability. While many sharks can bite through bone, the sheer crushing power and grip of a mosasaur's jaws, especially in species adapted for hard-shelled prey like sea turtles or ammonites, gave them access to a wider range of food sources that might have been less accessible or desirable for early sharks. Their robust teeth, designed for piercing and holding, meant very few prey items were truly out of their reach. Fourthly, adaptability and evolutionary innovation. The mosasaur family diversified rapidly, evolving into a wide array of forms with different feeding strategies and body sizes. This rapid evolutionary success allowed them to exploit various niches across the global oceans, from coastal shallows to deeper waters, reducing direct competition with each other and allowing them to expand their domain. Some specialized in fish, others in ammonites, and the largest became generalist apex predators. The ecological dominance of mosasaurs meant that for millions of years they were the undisputed kings. They were the ultimate hunters, the ones that dictated the terms of survival for other large marine animals. The absence of Megalodon during this period meant there was no other single predator of comparable size and power to challenge their reign. They filled the apex predator niche with terrifying efficiency, acting as the ultimate top-down control on their ecosystems. This dynamic competition highlights a crucial aspect of prehistoric life. Ecosystems are constantly in flux, with different groups rising and falling in dominance. For the late Cretaceous, it was the marine reptiles, particularly the mosasaurs, who held the crown. They weren't just big, they were biomechanically superior in their environment, outperforming even the most ancient and successful predatory lineages. Can you feel the weight of this ancient history, where the very top of the food chain was occupied by something so utterly different from what we know today? It's a reminder that the ocean's past is far stranger and more terrifying than we often imagine. When considering what an actual encounter with a mosasaur would be like, paleontologists don't just rely on skeletal remains. They use a combination of biomechanical analysis, comparisons with living marine predators, and trace fossil evidence to reconstruct potential attack scenarios. These reconstructions paint a truly chilling picture. Imagine you're observing a pod of prehistoric whales, or perhaps a group of large sea turtles basking near the surface. The water is calm, the sun warm. Suddenly, with no warning, the surface explodes. A massive head, the size of a small car, erupts from the water, its jaws already open, teeth glinting in the sun. The sheer power of its lunge, fueled by that immense muscular body, would be enough to stun or disorient any prey it targeted. The impact itself, the collision of its massive body with a victim, would be devastating. Attack reconstructions often focus on the element of surprise. Mosasaurs, especially the larger species, lightly patrolled the mid-water column or the deeper parts of the continental shelf, rising rapidly to strike. The unique flexibility of their jaws would allow them to take a massive bite out of a larger prey animal, or simply engulf something smaller like a human in its entirety. The victim would be trapped in a living, tooth-lined tunnel, pulled relentlessly into the darkness of the gullet. There's an ongoing debate among paleontologists regarding mosasaur agility. While their size suggests immense power, some early reconstructions depicted them as somewhat rigid, primarily straight-line swimmers. However, more recent studies, examining the structure of their vertebral columns and the flexibility of their spines, indicate a much higher degree of agility. The intervertebral joints suggest a surprising capacity for lateral undulation, allowing them to make quick turns and maneuvers, essential for capturing agile prey. This means they weren't just fast in a straight line, they could be nimble hunters, capable of tracking and correcting their course during a high-speed chase or ambush. This increased understanding of their agility adds another layer of terror. It means that even if you somehow spotted a mosasaur approaching, your attempts to evade would likely be futile. Its ability to pivot and turn would easily counteract any desperate changes in your swimming direction. Its sheer size and speed would simply overwhelm any escape attempt. Consider the sensory environment during an attack. The water would churn violently, filled with the raw power of the mosasaur's movements. The pressure waves generated by its tail fluke would be immense, disorienting. Any nearby marine life would scatter in terror, a clear signal of the impending doom. But by the time these signs were clear, it would already be too late. The mosasaur would already be upon you, a scaly, toothy torpedo aimed directly at your position. The outcompeting sharks narrative is also a critical part of the agility debate. For mosasaurs to truly dominate, they had to be more than just powerful. They had to be efficient hunters capable of consistently securing food. Their speed and maneuverability, coupled with their unique feeding mechanics, allowed them to maintain this predatory edge for millions of years. Are you still imagining a gentle drift? Or does the image of an ancient, hyper-efficient reptilian hunter, capable of both immense speed and surprising agility, make the concept of open water feel like a perilous arena where you are destined to be the prey? The very water you would swim in suddenly becomes a stage for an unimaginable one-sided battle. When considering what an actual encounter with a mosasaur would be like, paleontologists don't just rely on skeletal remains. They use a combination of biomechanical analysis, comparisons with living marine predators, and trace fossil evidence to reconstruct potential attack scenarios. These reconstructions paint a truly chilling picture. Imagine you are observing a pod of prehistoric whales, or perhaps a group of large sea turtles basking near the surface. The water is calm, the sun warm. Suddenly, with no warning, the surface explodes. A massive head, the size of a small car, erupts from the water, its jaws already open, teeth glinting in the sun. The sheer power of its lunge, fueled by that immense, muscular body, would be enough to stun or disorient any prey it targeted. The impact itself, the collision of its massive body with a victim, would be devastating. Attack reconstructions often focus on the element of surprise. Mosasaurs, especially the larger species, likely patrolled the mid-water column or the deeper parts of the continental shelf, rising rapidly to strike. The unique flexibility of their jaws would allow them to take a massive bite out of a larger prey animal, or simply engulf something smaller like a human in its entirety. The victim would be trapped in a living, tooth-lined tunnel pulled relentlessly into the darkness of the gullet. There's an ongoing debate among paleontologists regarding mosasaur agility. While their size suggests immense power, some early reconstructions depicted them as somewhat rigid, primarily straight-line swimmers. However, more recent studies, examining the structure of their vertebral columns and the flexibility of their spines, indicate a much higher degree of agility. The intervertebral joints suggest a surprising capacity for lateral undulation, allowing them to make quick turns and maneuvers, essential for capturing agile prey. This means they weren't just fast in a straight line, they could be nimble hunters, capable of tracking and correcting their course during a high-speed chase or ambush. This increased understanding of their agility adds another layer of terror. It means that even if you somehow spotted a mosasaur approaching, your attempts to evade would likely be futile. Its ability to pivot and turn would easily counteract any desperate changes in your swimming direction. Its sheer size and speed would simply overwhelm any escape attempt. Consider the sensory environment during an attack. The water would churn violently, filled with the raw power of the mosasaur's movements. The pressure waves generated by its tail fluke would be immense, disorienting. Any nearby marine life would scatter in terror, a clear signal of the impending doom. But by the time these signs were clear, it would already be too late. The mosasaur would already be upon you, a scaly, toothy torpedo aimed directly at your position. The outcompeting sharks narrative is also a critical part of the agility debate. For mosasaurs to truly dominate, they had to be more than just powerful. They had to be efficient hunters capable of consistently securing food. Their speed and maneuverability, coupled with their unique feeding mechanics, allowed them to maintain this predatory edge for millions of years. Are you still imagining a gentle drift? Or does the image of an ancient, hyper-efficient reptilian hunter, capable of both immense speed and surprising agility, make the concept of open water feel like a perilous arena, where you are destined to be the prey? The very water you would swim in suddenly becomes a stage for an unimaginable, one-sided battle. Like the Megalodon, the reign of the mosasaurs eventually came to an end. Their extinction occurred abruptly at the very close of the late Cretaceous period, approximately 66 million years ago, as part of the infamous Cretaceous-Paleogene (KPG) extinction event. This catastrophic event, primarily caused by the impact of a massive asteroid or comet near the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico, spelled the end for roughly 75% of all plant and animal species on Earth, including all non-avian dinosaurs and, crucially, the mosasaurs. The KPG event triggered a cascade of devastating environmental changes that proved fatal for the mosasaurs. The initial asteroid impact would have generated massive tsunamis, shockwaves, and widespread wildfires, while mosasaurs in deeper waters might have been spared the immediate physical impact. The ensuing environmental collapse would soon reach them. The most devastating long-term effect was the massive injection of dust and aerosols into the atmosphere. This caused a new global winter scenario, blocking out sunlight for months or even years. This would have shut down photosynthesis, collapsing the base of the marine food web. Phytoplankton, the microscopic plants that form the foundation of ocean ecosystems, would have died off, leading to a ripple effect up the food chain. The impact also released massive amounts of sulfur into the atmosphere, which then reacted with water to form sulfuric acid. This led to widespread ocean acidification, making it difficult for creatures with calcium carbonate shells, like ammonites and many plankton, to survive. As the base of the food chain collapsed, the larger predators, including mosasaurs, would have quickly starved. Their highly specialized diet of large marine vertebrates meant that when these prey items disappeared, so did the mosasaurs. The global winter would have caused a drastic drop in ocean temperatures. As large reptiles, mosasaurs were ectothermic, relying on external heat sources to regulate their body temperature, while they were adapted to warm Cretaceous seas. A rapid and sustained global cooling would have been catastrophic. They likely struggled to maintain their metabolic rates and activity levels in increasingly cold waters, further hindering their ability to hunt and survive. Unlike the megalodon's more gradual decline due to complex climate shifts and competition, the mosasaur's extinction was a swift, cataclysmic event. It was a victim of a planetary catastrophe, not a gradual evolutionary pressure. Their dominance was absolute until the very moment a cosmic force wiped them from existence. The disappearance of the mosasaurs opened up the ecological niche for large marine predators. Millions of years later, these niches would be filled by new groups, including the ancestors of modern whales, and eventually the megalodon itself. The KPG extinction was a reset button for marine ecosystems, paving the way for the Cenozoic era and the rise of new forms of life. So, while their terrifying presence is a chilling thought, we can be eternally grateful that the circumstances that led to their demise were absolute. Their world and the conditions that supported their monstrous existence were annihilated, ensuring that we no longer share the seas with these incredible, deadly reptiles. Do you feel that subtle wave of relief, knowing that these ancient terrors are truly confined to the fossil record, a stark reminder of Earth's violent past, but thankfully not its present? Let's conclude by revisiting that thought experiment, truly immersing ourselves in the unthinkability of encountering a mosasaur. You are suspended in the open ocean, the sun a distant memory, the deep blue stretching endlessly around you. Perhaps you are exploring a vibrant, ancient reef, oblivious to the vast, empty water column nearby. Then a subtle shift in the water pressure, a faint, deep vibration that resonates through your very bones, too low to be consciously registered, but enough to trigger an instinctual fear. The light above dims slightly, not from a cloud, but from an approaching shadow. Then the shadow resolves into an impossible form, a colossal, serpentine body, propelled by a powerful tail, moving directly towards you. Its massive, lizard-like head, studded with rows of recurved teeth, fills your vision. There is no time to scream, no time to think. The mosasaur doesn't need to chase you. Its speed is sufficient to cover the distance in a flash. The impact is not just a bite. It's a collision of dozens of tons of muscle and bone. You are hit with the force of a small train, your body instantly broken, disoriented. Before you can even register the pain, the gaping maw opens, an impossible cavern, revealing its double-hinged horror. The unique terror here is the engulfment. You wouldn't be torn apart initially, but swallowed whole. The feeling of being drawn into that dark, muscular throat, the the crushing pressure as the jaws slowly walk over you, inexorably pulling you deeper into the darkness. It's a horror that transcends mere death. It's the ultimate violation, the complete consumption of your being. Your last moments would be spent in the terrifying, inescapable embrace of its living gullet, the acid beginning to burn, the bones beginning to dissolve. Even if you were in a small boat, a kayak, or even a dive cage, a mosasaur's ramming force could easily shatter the vessel, throwing you into the water like a rag doll. Its immense jaws, capable of crushing ancient sea turtle shells, would make short work of fiberglass or even steel. Your best laid plans for safety would be nothing more than fragile dreams against such raw reptilian power. This is why swimming with a mosasaur isn't just about danger, it's about absolute utter helplessness. It's about being fundamentally outmatched by a creature that exists on a completely different scale of predatory efficiency. Every fibre of its being, every evolutionary adaptation, was designed for one purpose: to dominate and consume, and against that, a human is nothing. The very concept of a mosasaur in our modern oceans is more terrifying than any fictional monster. It's not a shark, a fish, or a mammal. It's an alien reptilian horror perfectly honed for marine destruction. Can you truly imagine anything more terrifying than being utterly insignificant, facing a fate of slow, inescapable consumption by an ancient reptilian king of the sea? The ocean, once a symbol of freedom, transforms into a suffocating, living tomb. Sleep well, and let the echoes of these ancient terrors fade into the safe realm of dreams. Take solace in the knowledge that the world we inhabit now is free from the crushing bite of the Megalodon and the swallowing jaws of the mosasaur. The gentle lapping of waves is truly just a lullaby now, not a prelude to an unimaginable prehistoric nightmare. Its mass would have been commensurate with its length, likely in the range of 10 to 30 tons for a 10-metre specimen, and escalating dramatically for larger hypothetical individuals. Imagine a solid block of muscle, bone, and reptilian might hurtling through the water. This wasn't merely a large animal, it was a compact, highly muscled engine of destruction. To grasp the human scale of this, a 10-metre Leopleurodon would still be over 5 times your length. From its perspective, you would be an inconsequential, perhaps curious speck. But unlike the mosasaur that might engulf you, the Leopleurodon would use its sheer power to tear you apart. The true chilling nature of the Leopleurodon lies not just in its formidable size, but in the devastating weapon that dominated its head, a skull of truly unprecedented proportions. If the overall length of Leopleurodon is sometimes debated, there is less argument about the truly immense size of its skull. This was a creature defined by its head, which constituted a staggering proportion of its total body length, estimated to be around 1/5 to 1/4 of its entire body. For a 10-metre Leopleurodon, this would mean a skull alone, measuring 2 to 2.5 metres, 6.5 to 8 feet long. If we consider the larger, more speculative estimates, a 25-metre Leopleurodon could conceivably have boasted a skull over 3 metres, 10 feet, in length. Picture a compact car or a small fishing boat, and now imagine a creature with a head that size, studded with teeth, bursting from the water. The sheer scale of its cranium would be awe-inspiring and terrifying. This massive skull housed equally massive jaws. Armed with a formidable array of teeth, Leopleurodon's teeth were conical, sharply pointed, and formidable, designed for piercing and tearing through flesh and bone. Unlike the Megalodon's slicing serrations or the mosasaur's gripping teeth, Leopleurodon's teeth were more like razor-sharp daggers, perfectly suited for impaling and dismembering large prey. The teeth were often quite robust at the base, tapering to a sharp point, allowing for both penetration and holding. But the real terror of this skull lay in its biting force. While precise estimates vary based on the reconstruction and scaling methods, studies on the biomechanics of pliosaur jaws suggest immense power. Early estimates, though sometimes considered speculative, reach figures of a colossal 33,000 newtons, approximately 7,400 pounds of force. More recent, conservative estimates for a 10-metre Leopleurodon still place its bite force in the range of thousands of pounds per square inch, comparable to or exceeding that of a large crocodile, and certainly enough to crush bones. If the largest, more speculative size estimates for Leopleurodon or its giant pliosaur relatives were accurate, their bite force could have rivaled or even exceeded that of a T-Rex. What could such a bite do? It would sever limbs, crush rib cages, and cleave through the vertebral columns of large marine animals. The Leopleurodon wouldn't need to swallow you whole, it would simply tear you apart with brutal efficiency. One bite, and you would be fragmented, scattered, leaving no recognizable trace. Its diet reflected its immense power: ichthyosaurs, dolphin-like marine reptiles, other plesiosaurs, including its long-necked relatives, large fish, and ammonites. Fossil evidence, including bite marks on the bones of marine reptiles and fish, supports its role as an apex predator. It was not a scavenger, it was an active, dominant hunter, capable of taking down anything it chose to pursue. Imagine the sound, the sickening tearing of flesh, the splintering of bone, muffled by the water, as that colossal head clamped down. It's a sound that signals a definitive, brutal end. Are you still picturing that calm, ancient sea? Or has the image of a massive, fanged head, capable of delivering a bone-shattering bite, begun to redefine your idea of prehistoric tranquility into a scene of ultimate, visceral terror? While its huge head and powerful jaws were its primary weapons, the Leopleurodon's method of propulsion was equally remarkable and crucial to its hunting success. Unlike sharks that rely on a powerful tail, or mosasaurs with their strong eel-like body undulation, Leopleurodon possessed 4 massive, powerful flippers, often described as hydrofoils. These 4 flippers, resembling gigantic paddles, were used in a unique method of underwater flight. Rather than undulating its body or using a tail fin for propulsion, Leopleurodon would synchronously or asynchronously flap its flippers, generating incredible thrust. This made it a highly efficient and powerful swimmer, capable of both sustained cruising and astonishing bursts of speed.
Estimates of its speed suggest it could achieve impressive bursts, crucial for ambush attacks. While not built for long-distance endurance migrations like some whales, its power-to-weight ratio and flipper mechanics indicate it was incredibly fast over short distances. Its acceleration from a standstill would have been explosive, making it an ideal ambush predator. Leopleurodon's hunting strategy would have revolved around ambush tactics in the open water. Picture the vast, deep Jurassic oceans, filled with marine life. The Leopleurodon, with its dark, counter-shaded body, dark on top, lighter on the bottom for camouflage, would likely lurk in the deeper, murkier waters, or perhaps beneath rock formations or along the edges of undersea cliffs. From these concealed positions, it would wait for an opportune moment. When prey presented itself, the Leopleurodon would unleash its incredible burst speed, propelling itself upwards or forwards with tremendous force. The target would have virtually no warning. One moment they're swimming peacefully, the next a colossal fanged head erupts from the depths, and it's over. The sheer momentum of its charge, combined with its crushing bite, would make escape virtually impossible. This underwater flight propulsion system also suggests a high degree of maneuverability for a creature of its size. It wouldn't be a rigid, straight-line attacker. It could make powerful, sweeping turns, allowing it to adjust its attack trajectory or pursue agile prey effectively. This combination of explosive speed and precise control made it a truly dominant hunter. For a human, this means you wouldn't just be facing a large marine reptile, you'd be dealing with a creature capable of launching a devastating, high-speed ambush from seemingly nowhere. Its 4 flippers would churn the water with immense power, creating a vortex of disruption as it surged forward. Your limited human senses would be utterly overwhelmed by the sudden, overwhelming force. The very design of its body, an almost torpedo-like trunk propelled by 4 powerful hydrofoils, speaks to a predatory perfection. It was an ultimate killing machine, honed by millions of years of evolution in a competitive Jurassic world. Are you still feeling the comfort of open water? Or has the image of a 4-finned powerhouse, capable of appearing from the abyss in an instant and delivering a bone-shattering attack, started to redefine your perception of the ocean's depths? While vision would certainly be important for a surface ambush predator like Leopleurodon, its true mastery of hunting likely extended to other, more subtle sensory adaptations, allowing it to become a truly invisible hunter until the moment of strike. Like many large marine predators, Leopleurodon would have possessed a highly developed sense of smell. The ability to detect trace amounts of blood or the chemical distress signals released by injured or stressed prey from considerable distances would be invaluable in the vastness of the ocean. This would allow it to track potential meals even when out of visual range. Furthermore, its large head and powerful jaws suggest the presence of a well-developed pressure sensing system, akin to the lateral line system found in fish and sharks. This system detects changes in water pressure and vibrations, allowing an aquatic predator to feel the movements of other creatures in the water, even in low light or murky conditions. A distant thrashing, the subtle currents created by a swimming school of fish, or the slow movement of a large plesiosaur, all would be detectable to the Leopleurodon, guiding it towards its next meal. This means that even if you were perfectly still, the slightest involuntary muscle tremor or heartbeat would be enough to draw its attention. The eyes of Leopleurodon were relatively large and forward-facing, indicating good vision and potentially some degree of binocular vision for depth perception. This would be crucial for accurately targeting prey during a high-speed ambush. However, deep in the Jurassic seas, where light diminishes rapidly, other senses would be equally vital. Some paleontologists also speculate about other, less understood sensory capabilities, such as sensitivity to low-frequency sounds. The sounds produced by large marine animals, even at great distances, could have served as a beacon for the Leopleurodon, drawing it towards productive hunting grounds or injured prey. The combination of these senses would have made Leopleurodon an incredibly effective and terrifying predator. It wouldn't just rely on sight, it would literally feel and smell its prey, allowing it to pinpoint targets in the vast, three-dimensional environment of the ocean. This multisensory approach would make it almost impossible to avoid detection once you were within its hunting range. For a human in the water, this means that even if you thought you were unseen, unheard, and undetectable, the Leopleurodon's highly evolved senses would paint a clear picture of your presence. There would be no hiding, no blending in. You would simply be a blip on its ancient, terrifying radar, and once detected, the hunt would begin. Consider the psychological terror of such a situation, knowing that something immense is out there, perhaps just beyond the limits of your vision, but that it knows precisely where you are, using senses far beyond your comprehension. It's a truly chilling thought, robbing you of any sense of security in the water. Has the thought of a creature capable of seeing you through vibrations and scent, even in the deepest, darkest parts of the ocean, added a new layer of dread to your vision of prehistoric waters? The ocean itself becomes an extension of the predator's senses, an inescapable trap. The scientific understanding of Leopleurodon and its incredible power is built upon a foundation of remarkable fossil discoveries, primarily from Europe. These finds, though sometimes fragmentary, have allowed paleontologists to piece together a compelling picture of this Jurassic giant. Some of the most significant fossil evidence comes from England, particularly the Oxford Clay Formation. This geological formation is renowned for its exceptionally preserved marine reptile fossils, including numerous plesiosaur specimens. The Oxford clay, deposited in a shallow, oxygen-poor sea that covered much of what is now England during the Middle Jurassic, has yielded partial skeletons, isolated vertebrae, and, crucially, large skull fragments and teeth of Leopleurodon. These fossils have provided direct insights into its anatomy, the immense size of its skull, and the characteristics of its formidable teeth. Further significant discoveries have been made in France and Germany, contributing to the global understanding of Leopleurodon's distribution and morphology. While complete skeletons of the very largest plesiosaur species are rare, the discovery of massive, isolated bones such as femurs or individual vertebrae has allowed paleontologists to use scaling methods, comparing them to the known proportions of smaller, more complete plesiosaur skeletons, to estimate the maximum potential size of these giants. These fossil finds are not just bones, they are scientific Rosetta Stones, allowing researchers to unravel the mysteries of prehistoric life. The texture of the bone can reveal muscle attachment points, indicating the strength of the jaws and the power of the flippers. The structure of the teeth provides clues about diet and feeding strategies. Even the surrounding sedimentary rocks can tell us about the environment Leopleurodon inhabited, whether it was a shallow coastal sea or a deeper offshore basin. The study of bite marks on fossilized prey, such as ichthyosaur bones, also provides direct evidence of Leopleurodon's predatory behavior. These marks, often deep and unmistakable, confirm its role as an active hunter of large marine vertebrates. The sheer force required to inflict such damage speaks volumes about its bite. While the dramatic size estimates sometimes seen in popular media are often based on a few ambiguous fragments or older, less conservative interpretations, the confirmed fossil evidence still paints a picture of a truly enormous and terrifying apex predator. The debate over its absolute maximum size doesn't diminish its confirmed status as one of the largest and most powerful predators to ever inhabit the Earth's oceans during its time. It's a testament to the power of paleontology that from fragmented remains, scientists can reconstruct such a vivid and horrifying image of a creature that lived millions of years before humans even walked the Earth. Each fossil is a whisper from a truly alien past. Does the thought of these undeniable fossil whispers, confirming the existence of such a colossal and powerful predator, make the ancient oceans feel less like a distant concept and more like a real, terrifying place that once was? For approximately 10 to 15 million years during the Middle Jurassic, the Leopleurodon and its close pliosaur relatives were the undisputed apex predators of the vast European epicontinental seas. Their reign was absolute, shaping the entire marine ecosystem beneath them. At the very top of the food chain, Leopleurodon would have exerted immense predatory pressure on the populations of large marine reptiles like ichthyosaurs and other plesiosaurs. Its hunting activities would have influenced their behavior, their migration patterns, and possibly even their evolutionary trajectories, driving them to develop better evasion techniques or to seek refuge in different environments. Imagine entire species of marine reptiles living in constant fear, their lives dictated by the omnipresent threat of the mighty Leopleurodon. The sheer metabolic demands of a creature of Leopleurodon's size and activity level would require it to consume vast quantities of meat. It was a highly active hunter, constantly seeking large prey to sustain itself. This constant need for sustenance meant that its presence was a pervasive, inescapable force within its environment. The dominance of Leopleurodon also meant that it likely suppressed the rise of other potential large predators within its niche. Its superior size, bite force, and hunting strategies would have given it an overwhelming advantage, ensuring its position at the top. There were no larger sharks or other marine reptiles during its peak that could truly challenge its supremacy in the open waters. It was the ultimate, unchallenged king. For any smaller creature in the Jurassic seas, and certainly for a hypothetical human, the presence of a Leopleurodon would mean living in a world defined by its hunger. Every movement, every shadow, every sound in the water could be a sign of its approach. The ecosystem was perfectly balanced, but it was a balance dictated by the appetite of this colossal predator. The survival of other species was contingent on their ability to avoid its attention. The ecological impact of such an apex predator extends beyond just what it ate. Its very existence would have driven natural selection, favoring faster, more agile, or more heavily armored prey. It was a powerful engine of evolution, shaping the very fabric of life in the Jurassic oceans.
Can you truly imagine anything more terrifying than being utterly helpless, utterly insignificant, and facing an instantaneous, brutal end from a creature that once ruled the deepest, darkest parts of the primordial oceans? The water, once inviting, transforms into a cold, crushing void, a tomb crafted by the largest, most powerful predator of its time. Sleep well, and let the echoes of these ancient terrors truly fade. Take profound comfort in the knowledge that the world we inhabit today and the oceans we explore are mercifully free from the bone-crushing bite of the Megalodon, the swallowing jaws of the Mosasaur, and the utterly overwhelming, tearing force of the Leopleurodon. The rhythmic sounds of the waves are truly just a lullaby now, not a prelude to an unimaginable primordial nightmare. Could you ever truly feel safe, even for a moment, in an ocean where such a being existed? An ultimate predator whose very presence fundamentally altered the behavior and survival chances of every other creature in its domain. The vastness of the ocean, which seems so liberating to us, would have been a mere hunting ground for the Liopleurodon. Let's conclude our journey by once more imagining that impossible scenario, swimming in the open, warm waters of the Middle Jurassic. You are a small, fragile human, suspended in the vast blue. The sun shines brightly on the surface, dappling the water below. You feel a sense of profound calm, perhaps even loneliness in this ancient, silent world. Then, the water around you begins to darken. Not from clouds, but from a gargantuan shadow rising from the depths. The water pressure shifts. A deep rumble vibrates through your chest, a primordial warning. Your eyes strain, trying to comprehend the impossible scale of what is emerging. It's not a fish, not a snake. It's a colossal, short-necked reptilian form, propelled by 4 immense paddles, surging upwards. The head alone is the size of a small boat, its dark eyes fixed on you with chilling intensity, completely devoid of emotion or hesitation. The massive jaws begin to open, revealing rows of dagger-like teeth, each one capable of impaling and tearing. There is no time to react. The Liopleurodon's speed and the sheer momentum of its charge mean that your survival window is 0. The impact is not a bite, it is an annihilation. The colossal head, weighing tons, slams into you with the force of a battering ram. Your body, frail and insignificant, would be instantly pulped, shattered, leaving no discernible trace. Then, the teeth would engage, tearing what remains into unrecognizable fragments. This is why swimming with a Liopleurodon isn't just about danger, it's about instant, brutal, and complete termination. There would be no struggle, no last breath, no chance to even register the terror. Just the sudden, overwhelming force of an ancient, perfectly evolved killing machine. Even if you were somehow in a reinforced submersible, a Liopleurodon could likely ram it with enough force to cause significant damage, or use its powerful jaws to bite and compromise its integrity. The depths of the Jurassic Ocean were its domain, and any intrusion would be met with overwhelming territorial aggression. Your best-laid plans for safety would be futile. Your advanced technology nothing more than a fragile shell against a force of nature millions of years in the making. The very concept of a Liopleurodon, and its true power, pushes the boundaries of our imagination. It was a predator, crafted by an ancient world for an ancient purpose, to dominate and consume. And against that, our modern understanding of strength and survival pales into utter insignificance. You've braved the vast expanse of the Jurassic seas, confronting the immense flippant power of the Liopleurodon. We've journeyed back through the Cretaceous with the terrifying mosasaur and lingered in the Cenozoic with the colossal Megalodon. Each epoch, a new, more ancient terror. Perhaps now you feel a sense of distant calm, a faint whisper of safety, knowing that even the most ancient reptilian giants eventually yielded to the sands of time. But what if I told you that the ocean's reign of terror stretches back even further, to a time so unimaginably ancient that even the concept of a true jaw, as we know it, was revolutionary? A time before modern sharks, before bony fish truly diversified, when the very structure of life in the oceans was still being written. Tonight, we plunge into the deepest abyss of prehistory, to the Devonian period, roughly 360 to 370 million years ago. This was an age of emerging life, of primitive fish and early terrestrial plants, but also an age of monstrous, armored giants in the water. Imagine a primeval ocean, dimly lit, filled with strange, primordial creatures, and moving silently through this ancient world, a predator unlike anything you've ever conceived, a living tank, a formidable engine of raw, mechanical power, perfectly designed for a world where armor was the ultimate defense. We are talking about the Dunkleosteus, the armored Devonian killer, a creature that literally carved its niche as the ocean's top predator with self-sharpening bone blades. From its shocking size and impenetrable armor to its unique, high-speed jaw mechanism and insatiable hunger,
We'll uncover why encountering a Dunkleosteus would not just be unthinkable, but a chilling testament to the brutal efficiency of primordial evolution. Are you certain that the very idea of ancient isn't concealing an even more alien, utterly relentless nightmare, waiting for the unwary to gaze too far back into the dawn of life? Let's rewind the clock to a staggering 360 to 370 million years ago, deep within the Devonian period, often dubbed the Age of Fishes. This was a world fundamentally different from any we've explored so far. Land plants were emerging, but the oceans were the true cradle of complex life, and in these ancient, alien waters, one creature stood as the undisputed, armored king, the Dunkleosteus. Dunkleosteus belongs to an extinct class of armored fish called placoderms. Unlike modern fish, whose skeletons are primarily bone or cartilage, placoderms were characterized by heavy, bony plates that covered their heads and the front part of their bodies, forming a sort of living, articulated tank. This armor wasn't just for defense. For Dunkleosteus, it was integral to its predatory might.
The most iconic species, Dunkleosteus torelli, was truly enormous. While some earlier estimates pushed its size to an exaggerated 10 meters, over 30 feet, more recent and rigorous scientific consensus, based on the preserved head shields, suggests a length closer to 6 to 8 meters, 20 to 26 feet. Even at these more conservative figures, Dunkleosteus was one of the largest and most powerful fish that ever lived, and certainly the dominant predator of its era. Imagine a creature the length of a large bus, with the front third of its body encased in thick, bony armor plates, up to 5 centimeters, 2 inches thick. Its head alone would have been massive, accounting for a significant portion of its armored front. Its mass would have been immense, likely weighing several tons, making it a slow-moving but incredibly powerful and heavily defended predator. To put this into human perspective, a 20-foot Dunkleosteus would be over 3 times your length. Its sheer bulk and armored head would make it an intimidating sight, like a submarine made of ancient bone and muscle. But unlike the sleeker predators we've discussed, Dunkleosteus's terror lay not in its grace, but in its brutal, unyielding force. This wasn't an animal that relied on stealth or subtle ambush. Its method was direct, powerful, and utterly decisive. Its very appearance would have instilled primordial fear in any creature that shared its ancient domain. And the secret to its terrifying success, it lies in a jaw mechanism that was a marvel of primordial engineering, predating the modern jaw structures of virtually all other vertebrates. When we think of jaws, we imagine teeth, but Dunkleosteus had no true teeth in the modern sense. Instead, its most distinctive and terrifying feature was its self-sharpening bony plates, essentially extensions of its skull bones, which formed jagged, scissor-like shearing blades. These massive, sharp bone protrusions acted like gigantic, perpetually sharpened guillotine blades, perfectly designed to cut, crush, and shear through virtually anything in their path. These bone blades were part of a highly unique and incredibly efficient jaw mechanism. Unlike modern fish or sharks with their complex musculature, Dunkleosteus possessed a 4-bar linkage system in its skull and jaw. This allowed it to open its mouth incredibly quickly, in as little as 1/50th of a second, 20 milliseconds, creating a powerful suction force that would draw prey into its maw. This lightning-fast jaw opening, coupled with its immense bite force, made it one of the most efficient predators of its time. Estimates for Dunkleosteus's bite force are truly astonishing, rivaling and potentially exceeding those of even the largest Megalodon or T-Rex. Studies using biomechanical models based on the preserved skull and jaw articulation suggest a bite force of up to 5,000 newtons at the tip, 1,100 pounds of force, and a staggering 6 to 7,400 newtons, 1,350 to 1,650 pounds of force further back along its blades. Some models even suggest forces approaching 8,000 psi, 55,000 kilopascal, at the sharpest points of its blades, giving it the most powerful bite of any fish. What could such a bite do? It wouldn't just tear flesh, it would cut through bone, crack open the thick carapaces of armored invertebrates, and slice through the toughest hide. Its targets included other armored placoderms, early sharks, which were generally smaller and more primitive than later forms, and large bony fish. The evidence of its diet comes from fossilized stomach contents and, more chillingly, from combat scars found on the armor plates of other placoderms, bearing unmistakable marks of Dunkleosteus's shearing bite. Imagine the sound,
the sickening clack of those bone blades shearing together, amplified by the water as it sliced through its prey. It's a sound that signals a definitive, brutal end, a sound of primordial power. For a human, even a glancing blow from these bone blades would be catastrophic. Your bones, your very skeleton, would offer no resistance. You would be cut in two, or simply crushed and severed by the immense force of its head and jaws. There would be no escape, no fighting back, just instant, overwhelming obliteration. Are you still picturing that calm, primeval ocean, or has the image of a massive, armored head, wielding self-sharpening bone blades and capable of a lightning-fast, bone-shearing bite, begun to redefine your idea of ancient tranquility into a scene of ultimate, visceral butchery? Dunkleosteus, with its massive, armored head and relatively rigid body, was not built for sustained, high-speed pursuit, like the mosasaur or Lipleurodon. Its speed was likely modest, perhaps capable of bursts, but its true strength lay in its ambush tactics and the sheer force of its initial strike. Its heavy armor, while protective, also made it somewhat negatively buoyant, meaning it would naturally sink. This characteristic might have been a crucial part of its hunting strategy. Imagine a Dunkleosteus lurking in the deeper, darker parts of the ancient Devonian seas, patiently waiting for prey to swim overhead. Its dark, armored body would blend seamlessly with the dim, primordial gloom. When a target passed within striking range, Dunkleosteus would use its powerful tail to generate an explosive burst of upward or forward momentum. Its lightning-fast jaw opening would then create a powerful vacuum, literally sucking the unfortunate prey into its mouth. Once caught, the massive bone blades would engage, shearing and crushing with immense force. The combined effect of the ramming impact, the suction, and the bone-shearing bite would be devastatingly effective. Its prey included other armored fish, placoderms, early sharks, and large bony fish, all of which would have presented a formidable challenge to any other predator. But Dunkleosteus's unique adaptations allowed it to dominate this heavily armored world. The combat scars found on the fossilized armor of other placoderms, sometimes showing healed wounds where a Dunkleosteus bite was resisted but not fatal, serve as a chilling testament to these brutal underwater encounters. They tell a story of a world where massive armored titans battled for supremacy. Dunkleosteus filled the role of the top predator before modern jaw evolution truly took hold in sharks and bony fish. It was a pioneer, a living testament to an early, successful, but ultimately evolutionary dead-end design for an apex predator. It didn't rely on agility or complex social hunting. It relied on brute force, unparalleled bite power, and a direct, uncompromising approach. For a human, encountering a Dunkleosteus would be a terrifying lesson in primeval power. There would be no escape from its initial, overwhelming charge. Its armored body would act as a battering ram, stunning or incapacitating you before its bone blades finished the job. Its very presence would command the deepest, most ancient parts of your brain to scream, "Run!" But in the water, there would be nowhere to go. Can you still feel the gentle current? Or has the image of a monstrous armored tank, capable of delivering a lightning-fast, bone-shearing bite from the primeval gloom, started to redefine your perception of ancient depths into a scene of terrifying, unavoidable force? Our understanding of Dunkleosteus comes primarily from an incredible fossil record, particularly from specific regions that were once part of the ancient Devonian seas. These finds are a window into a truly alien world, showcasing a level of armored predatory evolution that is unparalleled. One of the most significant fossil sites for Dunkleosteus is the Cleveland Shale of Ohio, USA. This geological formation, dating back to the late Devonian, has yielded remarkably well-preserved, though often disarticulated remains of Dunkleosteus. The massive, interlocking plates of its head and thoracic armor are often found, allowing paleontologists to reconstruct the size and shape of its formidable front end. The unique preservation conditions of the Cleveland Shale have provided a wealth of information about this iconic placoderm. Further significant discoveries have been made in Morocco, which has also yielded a diverse array of Devonian marine fossils, including placoderms. These Moroccan finds, though perhaps not as complete as some of the Ohio specimens, contribute to our global understanding of Dunkleosteus's distribution and the broader diversity of placoderms. Isolated bone plates and blade-like jaw elements have been found in various Devonian deposits around the world, hinting at its widespread presence. The heavy, bony plates of Dunkleosteus's armor preserve exceptionally well, allowing scientists to piece together detailed reconstructions of its head and shoulder region. From these, they can estimate the overall body length and mass, and understand the intricate mechanics of its unique jaw system. The aforementioned combat scars on the armor of other placoderms, bearing distinct cut marks that match Dunkleosteus's blades, provide direct evidence of its predatory behavior and the brutal world it inhabited. Fossilized gut contents, though rarer, have also offered clues about its diet. Dunkleosteus represents a pinnacle of placoderm evolution. Its fossils help scientists understand the early diversification of jawed vertebrates and the various predatory strategies that emerged in the Devonian. It shows a highly successful, yet ultimately extinct, evolutionary path for an apex predator. The detailed nature of these bony fossils, unlike the more cartilaginous remains of sharks, provides a much clearer picture of Dunkleosteus's anatomy and biomechanics. Every ridge, every suture line, every muscle attachment point on its armored skull offers clues about its power and predatory prowess. So when we talk about Dunkleosteus, we're not dealing with speculative estimates based on a single tooth. We're talking about a creature whose sheer armored bulk and unique predatory apparatus are laid bare in the fossil record, a chilling testament to a real, utterly terrifying ancient killer. Does the weight of such undeniable geological evidence, pointing to a real and utterly ruthless armored predator, make your mental image of the primordial ocean feel a little too vivid, a little too close for comfort? Despite its immense power and dominance for millions of years, Dunkleosteus, like all species, eventually met its end. Its extinction occurred at the close of the Devonian period, roughly 359 million years ago, during the late Devonian extinction event. This was one of the Earth's Big Five mass extinctions, a prolonged period of environmental upheaval that devastated marine life, particularly affecting bottom-dwelling organisms and reef systems. Unlike the rapid asteroid impact that killed the mosasaurs, the late Devonian extinction was a more protracted crisis, likely driven by a combination of factors. Primarily, the leading theory suggests a period of intense global cooling, leading to widespread glaciation and a drop in sea levels. As ice sheets expanded, massive amounts of organic matter were washed into the oceans from land, leading to increased nutrient runoff. This surge in nutrients caused massive algal blooms. When these algal blooms died and decomposed, the process consumed vast amounts of oxygen in the water, creating widespread anoxic, oxygen-depleted zones in the oceans. The drop in sea levels and the expansion of anoxic zones severely impacted the shallow, warm water marine environments that supported much of the Devonian's diverse life. Reef-building organisms, which formed complex ecosystems, were particularly hard hit. As primary producers and filter feeders at the base of the food chain succumbed to anoxia and habitat loss, the entire ecosystem began to collapse. Predators like Dunkleosteus, which relied on a steady supply of large fish and other armored placoderms, would have faced severe food shortages. Dunkleosteus, being a large, possibly slow-moving, heavily armored predator, would have been particularly vulnerable to these changes. Its reliance on specific prey and its limited mobility compared to more agile later fish would have made it difficult to adapt to rapidly changing and increasingly oxygen-poor environments. While its armor was formidable for defense against other predators, it offered no protection against suffocation or starvation. The extinction of Dunkleosteus and most other placoderms marked a significant turning point in marine evolution. It cleared the way for the rise of modern bony fish, osteichthyes, and cartilaginous fish, chondrichthyes, which include sharks, as the dominant groups of aquatic vertebrates. These groups, with their more flexible body plans, improved respiratory systems, and often lighter skeletons, were better equipped to adapt to the changing marine conditions that followed the Devonian extinction. So, while its time was one of absolute terror for many, Dunkilostius's eventual demise was not due to a single dramatic battle, but rather a slow, inexorable decline caused by global environmental shifts. It's a powerful reminder that even the most formidable predators are ultimately at the mercy of the planet's ever-changing systems. Do you feel that subtle wave of relief, knowing that these ancient terrors are truly confined to the fossil record? A stark reminder of Earth's violent past, but thankfully not its present? Let's conclude our journey to the deepest past by imagining that impossible scenario one last time. You are suspended in the murky, primordial waters of the Devonian period. The light is dim, diffuse, hinting at the vast silent depths below. You feel a profound sense of isolation, utterly alone in a world utterly alien. Then, the water around you begins to shift. Not a current, but a deliberate, powerful displacement. A vast dark shadow detaches itself from the gloom below, rising silently, inexorably. It's a shape unlike anything you've ever conceived. A colossal, armored head, moving with the slow, deliberate purpose of a living siege weapon. Its eyes, ancient and unblinking, fix upon you. There is no time to comprehend, no time to scream. The Dunkleosteus doesn't need to chase you. Its method is direct. The massive armored head, a blunt, irresistible force collides with you. The impact is not a gentle nudge. It's a catapulting, bone-shattering strike. Your body, frail and insignificant against its armored bulk, would be instantly broken, disoriented, perhaps even crushed outright by the sheer force of the collision. Before your senses can even register the pain, the terrible jaw begins its lightning-fast descent. The clack of bone on bone, the shearing sound of its self-sharpening blades engaging, is the last thing you would hear. Your body would be instantly severed, perhaps 2 or more pieces, by the unparalleled cutting power of those primordial jaws. There is no struggle, no fight, just instant, overwhelming, and utterly decisive termination, by a creature that perfected its killing mechanism hundreds of millions of years ago. This is why swimming with a Dunkleosteus isn't just about danger. It's about absolute, total, brutal obliteration. You are not just prey, you are raw material, to be cut and processed with mechanical efficiency. Your frail, modern body would be no match for a predator designed for a world where even other animals wore natural armor. Even if you were somehow in a modern submersible, its immense ramming power could easily dent or crack the hull, followed by the terrifying shearing force of its jaws. The depths of the Devonian Ocean were its unyielding domain, and any intrusion would be met with an ancient, uncompromising, and ultimately fatal response. Your best-laid plans for safety would be futile, your advanced technology meaningless against such a primordial force. The very concept of a Dunkleosteus and its terrifying efficiency strips away any illusion of human dominance. It was a predator forged in an era when life itself was fundamentally different, and its methods were as brutal and unforgiving as the world it inhabited. Can you truly imagine anything more terrifying than being utterly helpless, utterly insignificant, and facing an instantaneous, brutal end from a creature that perfected its killing method hundreds of millions of years before modern sharks, before even the dinosaurs? The water, once inviting, transforms into a cold, crushing void, a tomb crafted by the ultimate armored killer of the ancient deep. Sleep well, and let the echoes of these ancient terrors truly fade. Take profound comfort in the knowledge that the world we inhabit today and the oceans we explore are mercifully free from the bone-crushing bite of the Megalodon, the swallowing jaws of the mosasaur, the tearing force of the Leopleurodon, and the utterly obliterating bone blades of the Dunkleosteus. The rhythmic sounds of the waves are truly just a lullaby now, not a prelude to an unimaginable primordial nightmare. As the echoes of the Dunkleosteus' ancient, bone-shearing jaws finally fade into the deepest recesses of prehistory, you can at last breathe a sigh of relief. We've journeyed millions of years through time, confronting the most formidable apex predators our planet's oceans have ever known, from the immense armored might of the Dunkleosteus, slicing through the primordial seas, to the tearing force of the Leopleurodon, the Jurassic's four-finned tyrant. We then moved to the Cretaceous, where the mosasaur swallowed its prey whole with its monstrous double-hinged jaw, and finally to the relatively recent Cenozoic, where the Megalodon reigned supreme, with a bite force unparalleled in history. Each of these creatures, in their own terrifying era, was the undisputed ruler of the waves, a living nightmare for anything unfortunate enough to cross its path. Their stories are a testament to the brutal, awe-inspiring power of natural selection and the ever-changing face of life on Earth. But tonight, as you settle deeper into your own peaceful slumber, take immense comfort in the knowledge that these titans of the deep are now confined to the fossil record, their dominion long past. The oceans you swim in today, while still holding their mysteries and wonders, are mercifully free from such unimaginable ancient terrors. If these journeys into the depths of prehistoric fear have helped you drift off, please consider liking this video and subscribing to our channel. We bring you new, calming, yet captivating videos every single day, perfect for unwinding at bedtime. And as you prepare to truly rest, remember that connection we share across time and space. Take a moment to tell us in the comments below, where are you winding down tonight and what time is it there right now? It's always fascinating to see how far these tales of the ancient world travel. Thank you for joining us on this extraordinary journey through time. Sleep well, and we'll see you back here tomorrow night for another dive into the fascinating world around us. Good night. We hope you have sweet dreams of safer seas.